How's it going, everyone? Jeff Johnson and Jeff Linder here after a week off. Hopefully you didn't forget about us. Is it 3? That's right, a holiday. I forgot about
that's been so long ago now.
About the holiday, but we are back to call it both ways. We're going to talk, obviously, some girls and boys basketball, maybe some Iowa women's basketball, and I think we're going to start out with a little football, prep football. How's that sound?
You got some news.
Sort of. Next Thursday, we're taping this on Wednesday, so not tomorrow, but the 23rd of January, next Thursday, the Iowa High School Athletic Association, what do they call it, Board of Control, will officially vote on all this football stuff as far as how many teams are going to get in the playoffs in each class, who's going to be in what class, all that kind of stuff. Apparently, there's a meeting beforehand of class. This is according to our friend Chris Cuellar at the IHSAA. There's a meeting of Class 4A ADs coming up sometime here in the next week. I'm guessing maybe sometime this week. And they will discuss classification. They will throw their info to what the IHSAA calls the Classification Committee to see what it thinks about whatever the ADs come up with. Then they'll throw all that to the Board of Control and come up with some sort of resolution. We don't know what's going to happen. I would bet your bottom dollar we're going to see more teams in the playoffs. Now, Jeff Linder, could that be because there will be an additional class, Class 5A, which is kind of a rumor that's been floated out there from a couple people I talked to, which I don't know how that would work, but adding another class, what's going to happen?
Well, if they want to add another class, fine. Or if they want to call it Class 5A, fine. But you're going to have to refine the other classes. We don't need 7 classes of football. If you want to just say our big school class is now going to be 32 schools or 24 schools or something like that, fine.
Exit Class A. Let's just call it what it is. 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A.
Yeah, that's fine.
8-man.
That's fine. And
A player.
So you could say Class 5A has 24 schools. Class 4A has 54, 56. And then Class 3A, 2A, 1A have 64 or something like that. And then you still got the same amount of classes, but with just different numbers. Adding another class and going to 7 classes is not
very girls' union-esque, right?
Well,
no offense to the girls' union,
because they've already got 6. I don't know. The girls, we don't need 5 classes for girls' sports either, but that's another.
Yeah,
that's another
topic
argument.
for another day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you just realign and you use a little bit of common sense, it's doable.
But do you agree with me that certainly we're going to see more teams qualify for the playoffs?
Yeah, for better or for worse.
I
think we're bound to see that. I think my guess is we're going to go back to 32. Just a hunch, and so be it. That's what I think they're going to do. I don't know. I really don't know, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and some people are going to find something to complain about anyway. Right?
That's always seems to be the way it works. So, we've been talking to coaches and people around, obviously. There's some interesting things we just talked about before we started rolling tape here, or video, that Iowa City Regina believes it could be a Class A team next cycle. That'll go over well with everybody, right?
Yeah. Well, if that's where they are, I guess that's where they are. Then we bring in the multiplier argument. And do they have the option to opt up if they want?
Boy, I think so, because didn't we see that in previous
Didn't
years?
Danville used to do that in boys basketball or somebody like that?
I thought we've seen it in football before too.
Maybe. But if they opt up, does that mean somebody else is forced down, or does that
I would
just mean
think
there's
so,
an extra school?
right?
I don't know.
And is that fair?
I don't know. You're going to say something's unfair no matter what.
I agree.
And somebody just needs to make a decision and let the chips roll. And if it doesn't work out, change it again in 2 years.
Yep, and I think we can safely say that this will all be completely figured out by a week from Thursday, about noon.
Everything.
Everything.
Okay.
They don't really have a whole lot of time because you gotta ask schools for their non-district opponents.
Yeah. I think everything will be in place by March, right? As far as schedules and they still need to come up. Howard, what's the playoffs going to look like this time around? Are they going to use RPI? They need a format. What happens.
Do you like the RPI?
What's better? What would be better?
With maybe a couple of tweaks here and there.
Yeah, maybe tweak, maybe front loaded a little bit more so that the win-loss record's a little bit more important.
Sure.
You could probably just about go 50-50 with the first two aspects and get rid of the opponent's record. And just have it be those first two, or go like 50-40-10 or something like that. I don't know. I think some kind of a tiebreaker needs to be the schedule. Do you reward teams for playing up a class? Some people say yes.
But you don't always have control of that either. So.
Right, and maybe you just start playing teams in your own class.
That could be too. Maybe of course say, that's going to be a lot of travel. That's what you're going to hear.
Well,
so. Nobody's ever going to be happy about any of this.
No,
There's no perfect system, or at least it hasn't been discovered.
If they're going to use RPIs, why not just play conference football?
Mm-hmm.
Why not just say, hey, River Valley Conference, here's your 9 games. MVC, you're one league again.
And then, just have Dowling play out of state against everybody, since they're so much better than every other program.
Yeah, well, eventually somebody's going to get them eventually.
Odds are.
Yeah.
Odds are. No doubt. So, well, we just thought we'd throw that out there. It does look like the 23rd of January, a week from Thursday. All this stuff with the next cycle for prep football will be figured out one way or the other.
I want to see your way too early top 10 for next year.
Yeah, I know you have it already, don't you?
Well, I don't.
Do you have it ready?
We don't know the classes for next year, though.
Okay, but all right. Right now, if you went with enrollments of right now and the classes where everybody was at last season,
all right,
who do you got? Because I know you have this figured out.
Let me find it.
I know.
I'll just give you my number ones. How's that?
That's fine. That's fine.
Ankeny.
Really?
Yep. Pella.
Okay, that's fair. They got a lot coming back.
PCM.
Yeah, they got a ton coming back.
Regina, if they're still 1A.
Yeah. And then if they're Class A, then Class A.
Grundy Center.
Okay.
And Don Bosco.
Hold him to it, folks. Hold him to it.
Yeah. Everybody will have forgotten by August. And they probably will have changed anyway.
Yes, so. Exactly. So, let's flip over to the hardwood. Let's call it both ways here.
Yeah. I heard you heard that last night.
I have heard it every game so far I've been at this season. How about you?
I guess I just don't listen for it anymore.
Don't you?
It's just part of white noise.
Right. Well, that's good. I wish I could do that.
I honestly, I'm not sure I've heard it all season.
I know I've heard it every game. And for the first time last night, I heard "You're terrible"
to an official or player or coach.
From a fan to an official.
That's great.
That's the first time this season. So there was no expletive in there. It was just "You're terrible."
Okay.
So I guess I put a little check box on, or check that on the box. So never want to be a referee. Although it hasn't been all that bad, other than the call it both ways, which is generic. I don't know what you've seen from the crowd this season so far.
Hasn't been bad. But we're a little bit of ways away from it usually. Crowd's been smaller this year.
Have they?
I think so. I was at Xavier last night, and I think I counted 8 students there. But
I was at West Branch for Regina and West Branch, and that place was full. 2 rivals, boys-girl doubleheader.
West Branch won both, right?
Yep. And they only sit on one side there.
And it was hot in there.
If you've ever been to West Branch. Oh, my goodness, it was warm. It was warm. Here's another thing before we head to the girls. How long has it been, Jeff, since the seatbelt rule got
taken away? 3-4 years.
Okay.
I think.
The boys came first, or did they both do it at the same time? I don't even remember.
I think they did it at the same time.
Okay.
I think.
How do you think that's gone? I have seen 0 technical fouls called on a coach this season so far.
I haven't seen any. I'm not sure I saw any last year.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think I've had. Now, do referees still have the ability to make a coach sit before they give a tee?
I thought it was you tee them up, they're automatically seatbelted the rest of the game, and if they stand up again, then they're automatically
Gone.
I think that's what the rule is. So, but I think there was a lot of to do about that, how this was going to work, and but I think it's worked out all right
it's
as far
fine.
as I'm concerned.
It's been fine.
Most of the officials are
And a lot of coaches sit
willing
anyway.
to talk. Yeah, and they just because they're standing up doesn't mean they're barking all the time anyway.
Right.
So I was just that was just something I was thinking about in the shower this morning, believe it or not. So don't play into that in any particular area. We'll talk a little boys here first. Since we talked about West Branch and Regina last night, the doubleheader. West Branch beat Regina by 2, 56-54. Kind of exacting revenge, as they were eager to point out the Bears were, for what happened in football, where their undefeated season came to an end in the quarterfinals. And I look in Class 2A, Jeff Linder, and I see a lot of really good basketball teams on this side of the state.
Same way with girls.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. And probably a lot of the same teams.
Yeah, I just go up and down the list. North Lynn, Comanche, both undefeated. Dyke New Hartford, Applington Parkersburg, West Branch, Dyersville Beckman. It's just there's a lot of Monticello. There are a ton of really good basketball teams in Class 2A on the eastern side of the state, which is going to make for some interesting bracketing and some real disappointment when some state tournament caliber teams don't even get the opportunity to play at the well. And you say it's the same thing with the girls?
Yeah, just around here, Cascades 11-0, North Lynn 10-1, Mac Valley 11-1, Hudson 11-1, Mediapolis 12-1, MFL 11-2, Van Buren 10-2, West Branch 10-2. So yeah, there's quite a few of them.
It makes it a lot of fun for guys like you and me to watch these games. But for instance, basically it's just a bunch of football guys out there playing for West Branch, and they're doing a great job. And Jeff Bowie, who the All-Stater, who's quite possibly a Division I line recruit in football, had 20 and 15 last night, 20 points and 15 boards, and they were able to negate. I have not seen this. I don't know, maybe ever. Regina scored 54 points, and all 54 came from 2 guys.
I don't think I've ever seen
Mason
that.
Miller had 35. He's one of the best guards in the area, regardless of class. He had 8 3-pointers and 35 points, and Ashton Cook had 19. And that's it.
Probably saw that a lot in 6-on-6 basketball.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and probably not all together that often in 6-player girls, right?
Probably not too often.
But yeah, and this game obviously was contested right down to the wire too. So, just some weird. That was really weird, and obviously Regina knows it's not going to win games, especially big games when only 2 guys are scoring. So, And they average about 43 or 44 points between them generally. So, but anyway, so it's good. It's good to get out. I was out Monday night at Mount Vernon and saw Dyersville Beckman give Mount Vernon, which was ranked number 2 in 3A, its first loss. Then Marion goes and beats Beckman last night on a last second shot. So it's good to get out, and I know you do it probably a little more than I do, and that's unfortunate on my part. But
there's good basketball in the area.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's you try to see everybody in the area that's good once, and sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. Heck, I haven't seen Marion yet. I was going to go see them over at DeWitt last Friday, but conditions prevented that from happening, obviously. So we'll catch up with them soon. And you don't want to see them play somebody that they're going to beat 80-6 either.
Correct.
So
before I forget, congratulations to Bob Hilmer at Northland, co-coach. Victory number 900 last night as the undefeated Lynx defeated Springville. A game that was pretty close there for at least through halftime, and then Northland kind of eased away and won by 25 or 26, something like that.
Springville's not bad, are they?
No, Springville's got a good team. So Coach Merritt does a good job there. 900 wins, Jeff Linder. Can you imagine that?
Nope.
That's 450 bus rides. That's just wins.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time on a bus.
What's he got? 300-400 losses? Oh.
Yeah, I'd have to double check, and I will double check now that you mention it. But I want to say 300. But he's the 33rd coach in the nation, boys wise, to hit the 900 mark, according to the federation. So he and his son Mike obviously are sharing co-coaching duties. Bob spent he's 78 years old. He's the 900 and 346. He's won a pair of state championships. 34 years at Forest City, 14 at Waco, 4 at Fredericksburg, and now 5 at Northland. So how many? Who's the boys' leader or the girls' leader?
Gene Kling, 1,009.
1,009. Okay.
But he didn't have very many losses. He only had about 180, 190 losses. I don't think he had 200.
Wow.
Yeah. And 1,009 wins in 50 seasons. So that's averaging 20 wins a year.
Wow.
For 50 years.
Bob Hilmer's been in, this is his 57th season. And I talked to him last week. I thought it was interesting. He remembered just about every detail of his very first game back in 1963 at Fredericksburg. Down 16-7 at halftime, he says. Lost 42-28. Then I asked him, what do you remember about his first career victory? Nothing.
Yeah. That's, it's funny. That's how people's minds work.
Yeah.
I remember so much stuff from the 80s, but you ask me something about something that happened 2 years ago, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you that way?
Yeah, exactly. And, maybe you remember the negative more than you remember the positive sometimes, unfortunately.
Which isn't very good human nature, but I'm that way too.
No. So anyway, congrats to Bob. Good people up there, as you know. The Hilmers, and just good people up in Northland in general. On all sides, boys and girls. What do you want to talk about girls-wise off the top? What's kind of tripped your trigger here in the last 3 weeks?
There really isn't much that's... I mean, the Super 10 this week is just like last week. There haven't been any big upsets. Caitlin Daniels from Xavier became the school's all-time leading scorer last night. Tell me what you think of this. As good as Xavier girls basketball has been since the school began 21, 22 years ago, she will become the first person. She's not there yet. So as of right now, they have never had a 1,000-point scorer.
I think that's kind of, to me, that's a testament to the team.
The team. Exactly.
And the
they've never had a kid that,
coaches.
Right. And, they've always
never
been
had a
defensive
D1 kid,
first.
right? Or did they?
Yeah, they've had a few.
Have they?
Ryan Ridge was D1. There aren't many though. A lot of kids.
Who was the young girl, or the young lady who also was the great soccer player?
Kayla Armstrong?
Yes, she won a state championship in basketball with a last second shot, right?
Yeah, she was. I think she played soccer in college.
Okay.
But and really, she wasn't. I can't say she wasn't a good basketball player. She was a great basketball player, but she was not somebody that you really knew of until late in her career. Her state tournament really was kind of her identity because she played so well at state.
Okay.
And Daniels will be a rare D1 kid. She's going to UAB, and
is she really? I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. Congrats to her.
Yeah, and great player. I'm going to leave my notebook on her for Friday, just kind of how she's kind of progressed throughout her career and become a really good point guard.
Her brother Zach is in the Atlanta Braves organization as a pitcher.
Right.
So some good athletes in Daniel's family, right?
Two.
At least two, yep. What else has kind of stood out to you?
Still have 6 undefeated teams, which is, we're between half and 2/3 of the way through the season, and 6 is a lot. Marion and CPU. Prairie's had a great year. They're still undefeated at 10-0. City High, no surprise there. That's 4. Montezuma, Cascade. So, and Marion and CPU will play each other, I think, the 1st of February. City and Prairie play each other eventually, but we could have 4 undefeated teams going into the postseason.
That's what do you think is like a normal season?
Oh, a couple.
Quote unquote.
A couple?
Yeah.
So, and one at the end of the season is remarkable.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking at it on the boys' side, we're down to 1. Northland. That's it.
Yeah.
We have some friends. There's only, believe it or not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's only 9 undefeated teams in the entire state.
Really?
So, parity, baby. Parity.
Yeah, 12 on the girls' side, and 6 of them are from our area.
Okay, well, there you go. You saw Mac Valley and Northland play a couple of weeks, last week?
Surprisingly one-sided. Northland beat them by 29. I thought that game was going to be basically a toss-up, but Northland played really well that night, and Maquoketa Valley was a little bit off that night.
Actually, we're down to 7 undefeated teams because I just noticed that Algona's on here, and Algona lost last night to Clear Lake. So, in town, this is the way that it's shaken out on the boys' side, and I don't know what it is on the girls. When you look at the metro schools, and the Mississippi Valley Conference in particular, the power on the boys' side is all up in Dubuque and Waterloo, with Iowa City West, obviously,
and how
always
often,
thrown in there.
How often do you see that?
No, you don't. Hempstead and Senior, Waterloo West and Cedar Falls, and Iowa City West, I think, are your 5 best teams in the valley, and then there's a pretty big drop-off after those 5.
Down here in the metro?
Yeah, I would say so. I really don't. Other than Marion. Marion, I think, is a legit team in Class 3A. But nobody else has really kind of stepped up and had the big statement win. And that's unusual, especially when we just got done doing our team of the decade.
Yeah.
And you look at all the great players on boys and girls side that came out of the metro. So
it's cyclical.
It is,
and it'll come back. And girls, Marion's terrific. Xavier's a very good 4A school. Prairie's playing lights out, but after that, Kennedy's having a nice year at 6-4. Other than that, I'd say it's kind of average around.
You want to talk about the all-decade teams? We haven't really hit on that. Obviously, that came out over Christmas. Hopefully, you saw that. We did boys and girls and wrestling as well. Picked 10 players. It was difficult. On the girls' side, you want to go down your list of 10?
I got to find it first.
Yeah, and to me, it was, on the boys' side, it was a whole lot of Metro kids and it seemed like it was a whole lot of kids from the beginning of the decade when I don't think we'll ever see the likes of that again when you looked at all the Division I and high Division I talent that we had in town. Back then, your Jared Uthoffs, your Marcus Pages, Jordan Bohannon was on my team, Wes Washburn, Jeremy Morgan from West, the McCaffreys, Connor and Patrick, Wyatt Lowhouse. That's 8. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Matt Bohannon from Linn-Mar was on there, and Jay Kilmer from North Lynn. So that was my 10, and got a lot of grief from the folks at Xavier for not getting Matty Mims on there, and that was tough for me. Because he probably deserved it, but to me it was also
who do you take off?
Yeah, and it wasn't just necessarily maybe what you did in high school. You had to see what maybe they did in college, and a lot of guys on the boys all decade team are still playing professional basketball here and there, and a couple of NBA guys in there. So girls wise,
I went with Kia Stokes for my player of the decade from Linn-Mar. Won a state championship at Linn-Mar, won 3 national championships at UConn. She was drafted in the WNBA. Obviously great career, best post defender I've ever seen. BJ Mayer from Iowa City West, I went as coach of the decade. He won 2 titles with 2 different teams. It wasn't like a back-to-back deal with the same group. So that was the direction I went with that. In addition to Stokes, Allie Disterhoff, Iowa City West, Ashley Jones of City High. Both of those 2 were Miss Iowa basketballs at some point when they were seniors. Haley Lorenzen, City High, Riley Menster of Springville, Nicole Miller, North Lynn, another Miss Iowa basketball. Amanda Olinger, who split time with Jefferson and Linn-Mar. Morgan Page, Marion Jade Rogers of Kennedy, Madison Weekly Benton Community. Those are my 10. And I don't know about you. I easily could have gone to 12 or 15 kids, 20.
Me too.
But I thought 10 was a good number.
Yeah. I had Steve Bergman, obviously, at Iowa City West as coach of the decade. They made it to the state tournament every year except one. And as you could tell with, 4 guys on the all-decade team from West, a lot of talent there. Mr. Basketballs that we had, Jordan Bohannon, Jay Kilmer, Wyatt Lowhouse was Mr. Basketball, Jared Uthoff was Mr. Basketball, and Marcus Page was Mr. Basketball. So 5 of the 10, half of the 10 years last decade were metro or were local or area kids. So
4 for me.
That's pretty
4
good.
out of 10 here
and,
too.
Marcus Page was my player of the year. He's playing over in Serbia right now. Talked to his father Ellis last year when Marcus had first started playing over there. Asked him how it was going, and he said, "Well, it's kind of been a big adjustment because their coach over there like to have 2 and 3 a day practices. Little different.
Yeah,
little different." So, but yeah, hopefully you caught that. It's still on the Gazette. .com online. You can feel free to give us plaudits or roses or thorns. How's that?
Ready for both.
For what we got. So, coming up this weekend appears to be another snowstorm. So Friday will be interesting.
I think Friday is going to be a blank slate.
Yep. Kind of like last week.
A lot of schools are being proactive and moving their Friday games to Thursday, which I think is great.
Yep.
So,
what are you supposed to?
Well, I was scheduled to do Kennedy Wash doubleheader Friday, but that's been moved to Thursday, so I'm not doing that now. I'll be in Minneapolis.
The Wells Fargo Advisors shootout. There's 2 legs of it on the boys' side. Last week's 7-game ledger was postponed, and in retrospect, I think they might have been able to get at least some of those games in. But again, we're just trying to be safe and trying to be proactive. We're supposed to be 3 games this week at Kennedy, on Saturday, so we'll see if any of that gets in. The first leg has been postponed back to, I believe, the first part of February.
First day of February, isn't it?
At Cornell College now instead
Okay.
of Cole. So, let's close with the Hawkettes. Blooters bunch.
Continue. Oh, don't call them that.
Okay, sorry.
They continue to surprise. 12-3 now, and just having a really, I would say, a surprising season. They're getting really good guard play out of Kathleen Doyle and Mackenzie Meyer, and Monica Sonano's doing a nice Megan Gustafson interpretation, and they're just they always play well together. They've always, it's a chemistry program, and that's something that's preached, and they average about 20 assists a game. It's still a fun brand of basketball to watch.
Do you worry that they won't be able to keep up this level of play, considering their general lack of experience? For the rest of the season, or is that stuff kind of overplayed?
We're getting to the point now that I'm not sure experience is a big deal. They're not going to run the table. They very well could get beat at Minnesota Thursday. That's kind of a program in disarray right now up there with they had 3 kids that had to sit out the Illinois game, and they got beat by Illinois. They've lost 4 in a row now. So I think Iowa's probably going up there at about as good a time as they could. If they win up there, and then they can win at Wisconsin Sunday, which they should. They're sitting 6-1 in the Big Ten, and then they got 2 games at home, two very winnable games at home against Ohio State and Michigan State. They could be 8-1 at the midway point, which would be shocking.
You covered a game at the barn before?
I covered up women up there last year. It was
Did
my
you?
first time in there. Yeah.
They got you way up in the
way up in the corner.
boonies?
Yeah,
You got to look out for rodents and stuff like
bats.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got character. That's what they call character.
Yeah, I like it. I like places like that. The old or the new antiseptic places. I like the old gyms.
Yeah.
And the same kind of goes for the high school gyms too.
All right. Anything else you want to hit before we
we
sign off here?
I think I'm ready to sign off. What do you have tomorrow?
I don't know.
Everything's kind of in scheduled to have.
I was gonna go see Marion for the first time on Friday against Mount Vernon, and what should be another big game.
Yeah. If that's Friday.
If that's
I don't
Friday.
think it'll be Friday. It'll be maybe Thursday, or it might be later.
Heck, I'll clear my driveway off if anybody wants to come over and play a little half court in my driveway.
I just got the ice off of mine yesterday.
Did you?
Yep.
So, hook me up on Twitter, JEJE66.
Do you have a basket in your gym or in your driveway?
On the garage.
Oh, okay.
So, it could be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I should host the Wells Fargo
There you
Advisor
go.
Shootout.
I'll bring the shot
next
clock.
year. Yes, exactly. So, Nathan, thank you as always. Nathan Ford, he's awesome. At JEJE66, by the way, at Nathan T. Ford, if you want to ever communicate with him, or at JT Linder. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of basketball here the rest of the week to talk about. We will call it both ways again next week. Thanks for joining us, folks. Take care.